Welcome back to Morning Live, and as I told you earlier, we want to focus on what is happening in our institutions, higher learning institutions, to be specific, the hostels. Of course, let's not focus on the class, because also life has to be improved in so many ways as far as your hostel, or maybe even if you're living outside the university is concerned. Some sort of sanity needs to be experienced. And in studio, I'm joined by two young people. And of course, that is Naomi Nyambura from JKUAT, who is is actually an official, a student leader in the catering department, and Naboth Owino from Multimedia University. He's the opposition leader, actually, coming in right now in studio. Now, the focus basically will we want to now demystify what happens in our hostels, how expensive it is to stay in a hostel, how cheap it is to stay outside school. You know what I mean now. There's so much happening. Now, Naomi, I'll start with you. JKUAT, do you stay in school or outside school?
I stay outside the school.
Why did you choose to stay outside school?
Okay, let me begin with, I'm in third year right now.
Okay.
Yeah, first I was living in school, and sorry to say that the hostels in schools are not in good condition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me start with like bed bugs, you know.
Okay,
Yeah, then you get a room, you are living 4 people.
Okay.
Then maybe I love the privacy.
Yeah.
Then I opted going outside the school. Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason why you opted going outside.
Yeah.
Now, Multimedia University, I understand it's a media school. You guys are prepared to be here very soon, and so much is happening. You know, media school, of course, people talk. Because you're an opposition leader, I understand you talk.
Yeah.
Now, Naboth, tell us about his situation. Do you live in school?
Yeah, I stay in school.
You stay in school?
Yeah.
Now, how do you take it? How do you find it in school? Is it cheaper for you? What's the reason why you're not staying outside? Because 90% of you guys stay in Rongai.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So why are you staying in school?
I'm staying in school because it is kind of cheap to stay in school. And there are many outside there who are like me. They cannot afford to pay the rent.
Okay.
And you know, houses are so expensive.
Okay.
So they have no option but to just stay in school.
Okay.
And so the shortage of spaces in the hostels is making life for students to be hard.
Okay.
And the youths are facing a lot of challenges.
Okay.
And adding hostels on top of it is really bad.
Okay.
And I just want to explain to people outside there that being a student sometimes is hard.
Okay.
And I think sleep is important.
Okay, sleep is important.
you know, for the brain to work well, you need to have enough rest also.
Sure.
And people usually talk outside there of husband not wanting to go back home because there is quarreling in the house.
Yeah, sure.
You see, as our hostels is like our homes.
Yeah.
When we are studying. And so we need to have a peaceful environment to do our studies, and we need to have a peaceful place to rest. And when the universities focus so much on the activities that they forget on how the students welfare, it becomes real hard on us. And even if we try to advocate for the rights of the comrades, sometimes it is so hard for us to do it alone. And that's why I had a feeling that I think the government should somehow put measures on how the universities should handle their hostels, like the sanitations, like the bed bags. So the water systems in the universities, you find that in a hostel in the university, there is no water at certain points. So this one, it becomes real hard for us. Some will have to go fetch water far, and we have classes. So it becomes so hard on us, and it makes kind of education to be so hard.
Okay. Now, you've had his reasons, why he stays in school, because it's cheap. But again, you've had other reasons why sometimes it's hard for them. Now, you chose privacy, but it's cheaper for him. Now, what are the benefits you've actually seen when you're living outside school? Of course, one, you mentioned privacy. Yes.
Secondly, let me say, inside the school, the hostels inside the schools, there are restrictions.
Okay.
Like past 10 p.m. in girls' hostel, you can't get a boy visitor. That is. Secondly,
so you went out for a boy visit?
No, like the privileges, like it's not a must to get a boy visitor, but you can have a visitor, maybe emergencies. You get me? Then secondly, on the food, the catering inside the school, not everybody want to go to eat in the mess, you see. But when you're outside the school, you are near to a hotel, Like you can access hotel anytime, but inside the school, you have to get out of the school to get food.
But can you
from
compare
outside
the
hotel.
prices outside the school and inside the school? I believe mess, I think, with around 60 bob, maybe 50 bob, you're good, is it?
Even a 10 bob, I know.
10 bob, 6
Yeah.
shillings.
Ugali
I know,
veggie.
Stella Winja somewhere.
Yeah.
With 6 bob, you're sorted. Eh?
Yeah.
6 shillings, actually, you're good.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
But let me say on the price, yeah, in mess, it's more cheaper, but the quality.
The quality.
Yeah, I prefer
standards,
the quality, food quality that is outside the school. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, when you hear her reasons, some sort of privacy restriction, and also, but you know, these are two different ball games. You're a young man, he's a young girl, eh? But you see, for your preferences, they're very different from hers. Now, on behalf of all the boys out there who are in hostels, the challenges you've mentioned, bed bugs, so many things. Now, restrictions. Are you guys restricted? Maybe to be within the perimeter by this time? What happens in the hostel?
Yeah, you know, as a man, men are known to be providers.
Yeah, okay.
And so a lady has got no problem when it comes to that. Me, at this point, I'm studying. And probably if I have to get a girlfriend, she's kind of younger than me. But, you know, she can date somebody who is past university. So she needs privacy because, you know, ladies mature more than men, kind of. And so her priorities are different with mine.
Okay.
The reasons why I find it suitable to stay in school is because it is comfortable.
Okay.
I'll just wake up, bathe, go to class.
Okay.
But
Just hold it right there. We just have some breaking news coming in right now, and it's unfortunate news that Deputy President DP Ruto's pilot, and of course just use that in Captain Mario Magonga, has died in a chopper crash in Turkana. Kitutu Church's South MP Richard Onyonka, who is the deceased relative, said the chopper Mr. Magonga was flying went off radar on Sunday following a search and rescue mission. The wreckage of the aircraft and the pilot's body were located today morning at 4 a.m. It's not clear what caused the crash. We'll update you on this in our subsequent bulletins. Of course, you can join Abola Mohammed at 1 p.m. on Switch TV at the Huri. He'll be telling us more about that. Just coming up again with the breaking news right here on Morning Live is that Deputy President William Ruto's pilot Captain Mario Magonga has died in a chopper crash in Turkana. Kitutu Church South MP Richard Onyonka, who is the deceased relative, said the chopper Mr. Magonga was flying went off radar on Sunday following a search and rescue mission. The wreckage the aircraft and the pilot's body were located today morning at 4 a.m. Not clear what caused the crash. We'll update you on this in our subsequent bulletins. Sad news right there. Of course, we continue with our conversation now. When you talk about security, first I'll come back to you as a young girl. We talk about security. You're aware we've had so many issues about security.
Yeah.
Yeah, hostels and outside the hostels. Now, just the other day, one of your students, actually, your colleague was actually murdered in school. Your classmate, your schoolmate, actually. Now, when you talk about security, how safe are you outside? Because it's different for so many people. Some people feel safer inside the school, the hostels. Some are not safe. Some feel safe maybe outside. What's your opinion on all this security ballgame?
Okay, let me begin starting with the hostels. The security is very tight. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And compared to the rentals outside the school, it differs. You get one apartment does not have the watchman at night.
Okay.
The other one has a watchman. Like where I live, you can't get past 11.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a restriction.
That is outside school.
Yeah,
Okay,
where I
okay,
live, the
okay.
apartment outside the school.
Yes, yes.
Then you get to find that if you have the visitor, if the person is new entering the apartment, he or she has to leave the school ID or the national ID for identification. Okay, this does not prevent the theft or anything, because I'm a student, I don't have the school ID, and I want to access someone's house.
Yeah.
I'll go steal a student ID, I come, I cheat the watchman, this is my school ID, I'm this and this, and then I go and access the room and steal what I want.
Right.
So let me say for the hostels, it's more safe, I know. But for the outside, the security starts with me and you. If it's for my neighbor, know your neighbor,
It's
you
true,
see,
it's true.
for the security purpose. If you are not supposed to walk past this time, because where I live actually, a lot of the murdering happens there.
Okay.
Because you get to find that there are some like slums. Then you get to find these small boys comes with knives at night. Yeah.
Are they your schoolmates? Are they just people
No,
around?
they're not the schoolmates. Just idle. Let me say even under 18. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, because I remember sometime 6 a.m. Was like they approached me, then they're like, Sasa sister, we want your phone. And if you don't comply.
6 a.m. Where are you going to?
In the morning.
6 a.m. Where are you going to?
Of course, I was coming from somewhere.
Where?
6 a.m.
Okay. So those are the liberties now. Those are the liberties we're talking about.
Yeah.
For example, now she was just coming from maybe having fun with friends out, going back home. And then now, but in hostel, you guys are assured you have nowhere to go. Now, from her example, Wananabot, it's clear that there's some risks involved when you stay outside.
Yeah.
Already, she was actually nearly attacked by this young man.
Yeah.
They wanted her phone. But for you were asleep at that time.
Yeah,
for example.
So asleep.
So asleep at that time.
Yeah.
So looking at the risks involved in this living outside, how what can you say about how people operate? Do you think it's safer to live inside school, or maybe there's so much liberty?
It is safe.
Yeah.
It is safe to stay in school. But then I think what we need in Kenya is improvement of the hostels.
Okay.
Because you come to realize that a point comes when people who live outside school, they're not comfortable where they are.
Okay.
And there is a lot of there's a lot of strange people around.
Okay.
So they opt to kind of visit each other.
Okay. That is outside school.
Yeah, people outside school. They'll 80% of comrades who go to Dondaying live outside school because the apartments are not comfortable, the landlord there, the neighbor. Yeah. So I'm 60% sure that they're never comfortable where they stay.
Okay.
So they opt on Friday to go Dondaying, Saturday, Sunday. But people, the students who stay in school, they are comfortable.
Okay.
Where they stay.
Okay. She's not agreeing with you. Yeah, she's actually been nodding her head all this time you're talking. Why are you not in agreement with him?
Because let me say, actually, when you get inside the school from Friday, the hostels, they're like empty. As in like
empty.
So
these guys, yes.
No. Okay. The comrades who are not in school during the weekends, maybe they go to visit relatives.
Relatives.
Yeah, relatives. Yeah, and that's why I was saying that the conditions of the hostel should be improved.
Okay.
In my argument, because there is no water.
Okay.
And so the hostel will be a suitable place to stay if the conditions will be improved.
Okay.
So if there is enough water, there is comfort, there is no bed bugs, there is everything there. Okay. No comrade will go back home.
Interesting.
Yeah. If the universities just one day open up their eyes and see it in this way, they will put good conditions for students to stay and rest.
Okay.
So students won't have an option to go out.
Okay. Okay.
And I see in multimedia university, I'm in my second year, and a greater percentage of my classmates stay outside. Not because they wanted to, but because they lacked a chance to get a hostel. There are very few spaces left for comrades. And so, at a point, we have a class from 7 to 10. And then they have to wake up very early, come to school. Okay. Then another class will be having from 4 to 7. Okay. Now, they'll have to stay at school, and they're very tired. Maybe they walked. A point comes, you don't have money, the little that you have, it's for food. And they have to pay for fare to come to school. Okay. So I usually see them, they're so fatigued. And sometimes they even talk to us, Bona Naboth, can I stay in your bed kidogo? And then, so they come and rest in my place.
So there's so much happening.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that let the university offer students a comfortable condition to stay in the hostels. Okay. Now it will be upon the student to decide whether he or she will stay outside or will stay inside, because we are not the same. Some will prefer to stay outside. Some prefer to stay inside. Okay. But let's not make students stay outside because there is no option. Okay. Let's give them a conducive environment to stay in school.
Now, Naomi, we're told even some of you prefer to stay outside so that you can actually rent these rooms you've been given in school. Is it true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more about that before you wind up now.
Like you're given a hostel in school.
Yeah, but you actually rent it out, and then now you prefer to stay outside.
Okay, maybe let me begin with, some parents are so strict. They want you to stay inside the school. And what they do, maybe they book a room for you inside the school. Like for JKUAT, you do the booking system online.
Okay.
So your parent at home, when that time reaches, maybe at a book even without you being aware. Then you're not comfortable, you don't want to live in the hostel. So you have to maybe rent that room for someone else, then use that money to get a house outside the school.
Interesting. Just hold it right there. We're taking a short break now. When you come back, these two young people in studio will be telling us about now the pros and cons of living outside. Of course, they've touched on some, but we want to focus on now the issues. Do they go directly to the hostel once admitted, or there's also another option where they can actually stay outside? Naomi is telling us there's freedom outside. That's why sometimes she comes from various places at 6 a.m. putting her life at risk. And Naboth, on the other hand, is asleep, so he feels secure but with bed bugs. So all that after a short break. Welcome back to Morning Live, and right now discussing so much about what is happening in our hostels and of course outside the hostels. In the studio I'm joined by two comrades who are aware of the situation. Mr. Nomad and is it Nomad?
Naboth.
Naboth, yes, calling Nomad, and Naomi in studio. Of course, they're telling us about the life outside school and outside and actually in hostels. And trust me, it's actually balanced. But as it is, there's so much risk involved in staying outside, my opinion, Naomi. But back to you, Naomi. When you talk about the freedom, let's talk about also the availability of these hostels in school, because at some point during your first and second year, you stayed inside school. Now, how available were they for you guys?
Let me begin with, for JKUAT, main campus, we have 7 hostels. And compared to the ratio of students to these hostels, the hostels are few, you see. So when you're in first year, you get a high chance to get this room. Okay. Because for the continuing students, they are being blocked, someone like being blocked from accessing the room. So the first years are given the priority. So in short, there's some shortage of this. There's some shortage, actually. A serious shortage. Serious shortage.
So not all first years who to fourth years can actually be accommodated in school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for this shortage, you get to find that even students are sleeping in class, because this student tried to book a hostel. He's a continuing student. You see, he has no option.
So taking a mattress.
Not even a mattress, like
it's on your locker, something like that?
Yeah, on the desk, sleeping in the TV rooms. The hostels have TV rooms. So you get this person is struggling, or even going to a room in hostel and telling the person, when you enter the bed, I'll sleep on the table. You see, some situations like this. So actually, that's why I vied for this seat, the health, catering and accommodation seat, so that I can deal with some situation like this. There are those less fortunate students that have not been looked at. The shortage of hostels in school, it's a major problem right now, because you find that the rent outside the school ranges like a bed sitter, the least 6,500. And this 6,500 is for 4 months in a semester.
Wow.
Yeah, so you get, I think the administration and the management in school should look forward to push another new hostel to be built. Or even we liaise with the outside hostels, not from the school, that are from that are outside the school, so that they can lower the prices and the student can get accommodated at affordable prices.
But you see, outside the school, that's a business. Someone has to decide. He has the liberty to decide how much he'll charge, or maybe she'll charge. But yeah, I've heard you, it seems there's a problem inside school. Now, when you talk about this, it's clear that even where you're studying, some people kind of want you to accommodate them at some point, because the class times are very tight. There's no gap for someone to rest or even go back to the house. Now, are there enough hostels for you guys? You know, when you're admitted, you're given this admission number, you must be given some place actually to rest. Now, is everybody accommodated, or maybe is it a standard operating procedure that everyone is given this number, the hostel, bed number, what? Is it that way, or maybe you guys have to kind of now struggle for yourself to get a room inside school? How does it go around?
As I want to talk on the situation in Multimedia University of Kenya, that there are no enough hostels.
Okay.
And getting the hostels is a real struggle. It's a privilege on first years when you are admitted. The school prioritizes first years and fourth years, and then second years and third years they just there. And then
why are they just there? Because now I believe everyone has a right to be in school.
And I think since there are not enough spaces, I think the university prioritizes first years because they are new to the environment.
Okay.
And then I think they want to give the fourth years maybe a humble time before they graduate. And then the other group who have a upper hand are the student leaders.
Okay.
So
I'm told the rooms are even they have ACs. Is it true? The kind of privileged.
So there are people in between here.
Where? What is this?
Second year, third year. They're not prioritized.
Okay.
And so they face a lot of challenges.
Okay.
I think the main issue that should be done in the universities, they should bring hostels in the university.
Okay.
I think that will be a real good
should
issue.
add more hostels.
Yeah, add more hostels.
Okay.
Even if it means bringing investors into the school. Because this is something that as students it's not easy to fight for. You cannot go push the administration to build new hostels because building a new hostel will take time. And there is no way comrades will ever ask a university to build them a railway in the school. No day. We only want these basic things to be catered for.
Okay.
And so since building new hostels will take time, I think they should ensure that the few hostels which are there, they are in a very good conditions. In Multimedia University of Kenya, they are now constructing another library. There is a library, they are now constructing another library. But they're not taking into consideration that there are not enough hostels in the universities. And specifically in Multimedia University, men don't have such huge problem like ladies. There are 2 blocks, hostels for ladies, and a huge number of ladies stay outside. And if you see, ladies are more at risk than us men. Us men, we can
for example,
we can survive.
6 a.m. they want to have fun.
And so I sometimes I don't agree with my sister when she says that staying outside is better, unless when it comes to the one point which is the freedom or privacy. But also, we have a life. In every stage we have a life to enjoy. And in university you need to socialize with people. And staying in school gives you ample time to socialize with people,
different
make
cultures,
new friends,
different backgrounds.
And it also teaches you how to stay with people from different backgrounds. Like in my room, I'm staying with guys from different tribal backgrounds. And Luos are so they were afraid of Luos because they feel like Luos are like Tibi Mutialala. But the moment they stayed with me, they come to realize that as Luos we are also humble in a way.
This guy. Anyway, but back to you. When you talk about socializing different cultures and backgrounds, it's something very integral even in our society. In Kenya here, we deal with so many people. Even in class, your lecturer, people coming from different places. Now, when you stay alone, and there's so many issues happening also that even the young girls are lured into some vices. For example, you need to afford that rent. You need to look good. You need to some sort of competition also going around within you young girls. Sometimes you're tempted into some situations of having sponsors outside school. It's something that we can't avoid. The glutton nature of young girls wanting to shine earlier before they even started kicking. What is it all about? Maybe tell us more about this, because now I'm very sure you might be having friends, a friend or two who have sponsors.
That's true. And let me say, in campus, the ladies part, I'm a lady. I won't talk about them.
Sure.
For
them, they're hustlers.
They're hustlers.
They struggle around.
Let me say, there's kind of competition for us. unapata you get this guy, this lady today is looking good, you want to look more better than her, maybe she's your friend. You get situation like that, maybe you are not capable of that, maybe expensive clothes, the hairstyle, the shoes, so you get to a step ahead of getting maybe a sponsor. You know that sponsor will provide everything as long as you want to look better than your friend. I think that situation is whereby you get a parent is not providing anything else apart from the rent and the food to sustain you through the day.
Before you continue, is it a challenge from the parents side, because we are from different backgrounds? We didn't choose to be born where we are, is it?
True.
Now, when you go to campus, you find someone looking better than you and you want to kind of keep at par with her. Now, are you blaming our parents or are you blaming ourselves? Because now, when a parent can't afford that expensive hairstyle and she sent you to school for that core business, which is studying, but you want to kind of keep up with your friends, the peer pressure, are you blaming our parents or are you blaming our morals as ourselves? What do you think?
I think we should blame our morals because the parent took you there for education. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you come from a humble background, then you should not focus on other pleasures, other leisure things. You should focus on the books. So that if you you manage to maybe be successful in future, you'll be looking good as you want the current situation.
The risks, sorry bro, this is actually on the ladies. I'm coming back to you. The risks on having sponsors, you've seen so many stories. And then you see at the end of the day, sometimes you become emotionally attached and you guys want to report to their wives. Plain as it is. And then there's something called elimination method. Now, elimination method will end you in trouble, or even you lose your life in one. You lose your life. What advice do you have for the young ladies? Of course, you've talked about home, humble background, school, books, emulating themselves, emulating actually each other, competition. Now, your advice to the young girls out there who feel like they need to kind of catapult their lifestyles, physical attributes, the way they look. What's your advice as a young lady?
My advice is that we should accept ourselves the way we are. If you're not capable of maybe looking good like your friend, just accept it. Just work hard for the future looking good, you get. Because I don't advise anyone to go and get a sponsor. This sponsor person has a family. How, like, if it was you who is a wife to that sponsor, how do you feel like
putting themselves in that
husband is having another girl somewhere? So we should put our shoes in those, we should put ourselves in their shoes and just accept ourselves the way we are. Then for future, we work hard for our future to get looking good.
Absolutely. Now, you have a girlfriend in campus, you're in your room, it's the things we can't avoid, my brother. You stay in the hostel, you have a girlfriend, there's that pressure of you providing. These guys outside, they kind of go to these hotels. She mentioned she doesn't eat inside the school. You eat inside the school in the mess. You have a girlfriend who's looking upon you. As you said earlier, you are the provider. Now, the provider eats in school. There's some sort of standards you have to achieve. You're broke, my brother, but you can't do anything about it. How do you maneuver? And of course, sponsors are also out here. Very, very tough on your necks. How do you maneuver about this now?
I also want to talk on behalf of my brothers who want to stay outside. Because there are some of my brothers who, unlike me, prefer to stay outside because they want to have a humble time with their loved ones. Personally, relationship is a wide topic and it requires maximum maturity. And you know, sometimes ladies go for short-term decisions and they plan like the next 3 months, the next 4 months. And so the next 3 months, 4 months will bring in the sponsor. The sponsor will provide her with all she wants within maybe 6 months, a year, and then the sponsor will go. But when we are talking about a long-term goal, these ladies will actually come back. And our fathers outside here are taking away our wives. You know, the sponsors things, because a sponsor will not be a young guy. They are like respectable men who worked hard and they have their money. And so when a lady goes outside to meet a sponsor, I have no problem with that. Let her just go. When I cannot control it because I stay in the university and like me,
you're cutting your coat according to your size. That was also say you can't struggle. Absolutely.
the little that I make with my money, I want to secure my future.
Absolutely.
And so I cannot I cannot start competing. With somebody who has a job.
Good stuff.
So the moment when I find a lady who loves me when I'm low,
when you're in the hostel, actually,
when I'm in the hostel, why shouldn't I love her when I'm in the mansion?
Absolutely.
And so the ones running, the ladies running for sponsors, I won't tell them not to go for them. And I won't tell them to go for them also. I just want them to make their decisions. But they should try to look for long-term decisions. If you plan to stay with this sponsor now, ask yourself, who will you be with after your 4th year? I have a friend of mine.
Don't mention his name or her name.
Yeah, I want to mention her name. I have a friend of mine. She's so beautiful. And she's been my friend since your 1st year.
Because of time.
Yeah.
That story was so juicy. I wish you could have continued with it.
Yeah.
But my brother, we have to wind up. We have to wind up right now. But still, guys, thank you so much for coming. And I believe there's so many things that happen in the hostels, as in the school. So please secure your future very well, study well. And from where I'm seated from experience, the core business, standard operating procedure, just go study, because there's so much life is waiting for you here. There's so much. You still have a long way to go, is it? So go there, spread the news that whether you're staying inside or outside, but still we've noted the government needs to add more hostels in the institution so that at least people like Naomi can go back to school, is it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. And of course, continue inspiring those young ladies and men out there. And thank you so much for coming once again. We're not taking a short break, but Mr. Calvin Jodisi will be joining us, and of course he'll be talking about Startup 101. Youths have to start somewhere. All that after a short break.